Good evening. I'm Nathan, and I'm here with my very intelligent wife, Laura.
Oh, thank you. And we're here to review the Go to the Head of the Class board game, specifically the Australian edition.
Yeah, so this is I think it came out in like the 50s or 60s originally, and there've been a whole bunch of releases for different countries and...
This is obviously not the 50s release.
No, I don't know if it's been re-released anytime recently, but this was, I think, 87, possibly. Let's see.
86, it
86.
says on the back.
It's a trivia game, if you hadn't sort of already guessed that.
Yes, the idea is to answer questions from different categories that you obviously would have in a classroom and get to the head of the class,
And
be the best.
Be the first to graduate.
Yes, that's very true.
So it like I said, plays like a regular trivia game, but there are methods to make it more even for younger players and older players and all that. So
Yes. So we're not going to play through this because...
it's a trivia game, and
and
my trivia sucks.
that, and also some of the trivia is quite outdated, obviously.
Yeah, it
It's
talks
the
about
80s.
it talks about East and West Germany, for instance, which no longer exist.
No. Alright, so this is the instruction booklet, but also the quiz book.
Which
So-
is absolutely imperative to play this game. If you're missing this
Yes.
booklet, you can't play.
Yeah, so if you are looking to pick this up secondhand and this is gone, just leave it.
Yeah, you can't play it. It's basically equivalent of missing the Trivial Pursuit cards in Trivial
Yeah,
Pursuit.
exactly. So we'll get back to that in a minute. We'll show you that inside.
Right, then we
The
have-
board is enormous.
So we might have to do it in sort of chunks, which is
Yeah.
how the board's actually folded.
Yeah, so it folds into 3, but not even thirds. It's really bizarre.
Alright, so
You make your way through all the different classrooms. I was saying
classrooms,
the right thing.
and each one teaches a different subject.
Oh, sorry. Yes, we have art and music, mathematics, history, literature, science. This is your was it final exam.
The
they
final
call
exam,
it?
yep.
And then further down.
Sorry, I'm just...
Nathan's trying to rearrange a little. We have language. Yeah, final exam. There you go. And geography as well.
And as
This
you
is
can
the
see,
start.
and you can see the arrows pointing you which classrooms you have to go to next.
Yes. So the spaces are these little
I might do
school
is-
desks.
I might just sort of
Yeah.
put it there so we can sort of get a bit of a view.
So the blue ones really are the ones you want to be landing on.
Yes, so the blue ones... Ooh. How about we discuss...
Nathan, remember?
I know how... How about we say what happens if you actually get
Okay.
a space... You
Sure.
get a question right.
Sure. So you start on the very first space, but then there's no normal die.
There's no die or cards to move, no.
There are dice, but not for moving spaces.
They determine what quiz or question you get out of what category.
Yes. So say we were at the start and we were on our first question.
Yep.
We would refer to the book. So there's 3 different levels of questions depending on your age. So they recommend the lower ones for kids, the middle ones for like high school or just
Yep.
just graduated.
I think it actually specifies...
And then the last one's for adults, I think it was. Somewhere in there.
I can't remember.
Skill level. Where does it say? Student, scholar, or graduate. So,
And
Yeah.
look, I when we played, I played on Scholar because I don't like to lose, and Laura played on Graduate, the highest one.
Yes.
And there were some particularly tricky ones in Graduate, specifically history and maths that were...
oh boy.
Oh boy, yeah. So,
Also outdated ones, which made it even more difficult.
yeah, so basically, once you get the actual manual itself is fairly... That's all it is.
That's the instructions.
But
Yep.
the quiz book... So, for instance, I think we start off with language first as our first subject.
So you have 3 columns, one for the student, which is the kids, scholar for, I think they said like high school graduate.
Yeah,
sort of
they do
their
give an age bracket.
Yeah, and then graduate was the higher level for adults.
Now, if you've noticed, they have a black and a white sort of square. Let me just pull it up. So when you roll the dice, that's how you determine what question you get, depending on what subject and room you're in.
Yeah, so say I was doing the graduate and I rolled 5 and 5. You always use the black die first, so that would be 55. I mean, it would be, if it was this, it'd be 51.
So that says...
Spell 2 homonyms for C's. So, I mean, look, for me, my spelling, my language and all that is great, but I've forgotten what a homonym was.
So, I mean,
That's
this
for
one's
sure.
something that sounds the same, it's spelt differently.
Yes.
Which is C's and I see something, and C's and C's like contraband or something.
Yeah.
So, obviously, and if you go to, like, say, 55 in the student, it's...
Without rearranging or skipping any letters, find 2 smaller words with president.
So,
Within president, that
you know,
should probably
preside,
say, but yeah.
resident, reside, side, ident, dent, except any 2. So,
So some of those are easier than others. I mean, here's a true or false. Here's a spell giraffe. You know, that they do vary. Generally, though, these are the harder ones over
But as per usual, there are some outliers, so there can be some particularly tough ones in Scholar compared to Student and vice versa. So, obviously, being a trivia game, it's...
Yeah. So, say I'd had that question and I got the answer right.
So let's just move that over here.
We would then refer to the chalkboard or the blackboard, whatever you prefer to call it. So, for getting the question right, you move your desk ahead 3 spaces plus your rank.
So default 3 spaces.
Minimum of 3 spaces. You then have to turn over and see where you are. So, there was only 2 of us last time we played this.
So it was only our first and second.
Yeah. So if you're ahead, which means further along on the board, you move 4 spaces in total.
Yep.
That's including this 3, not in addition to.
It's a fairly confusing sort of...
Yeah, it is. But it does specifically say in the manual, this is the total. You don't have to add it up.
So basically, ignore the other side and just move these spaces depending on your rank on the board.
Yes, if you're second, you move 5. So it's designed to balance it out and bring the people from the back up quicker and slow the people at the front down, which is a little frustrating if you're doing
Speaking of catching up, can you please explain the blue chairs in great detail?
Oh, thank you. So if you're on the blue chair and then you get your question right, instead of moving as per this, you can move to the green chair. Which
Go to the head of the class, Laura.
Sorry, the green desk, which is the final one for that classroom, which means on your next turn, you can start working your way into the next room.
Yeah, so I mean, Laura, when we played, got quite a ways ahead because...
Oh, I was just on blue chairs in every subject.
Yeah, so, but then near the end, she kept landing on regular ones and I was able to catch up because I was landing on blue chairs, so
yes.
that's what
I won,
I think so, yeah. So basically, as we mentioned, they're all individual subjects except the final exam, which runs off the study hall, which we haven't touched on.
No, it's actually different. So, let's talk about study or the final exam now that you brought it up. Hang on. You go further along in this book. There's a different page for every category. This one is the final exam. It works in exactly the same way as the previous trivia, but the questions are a little bit more mixed. They're not on one particular topic.
It can be history, like it could basically be any question from
anything. Yeah, I can see a maths one here, and was it arts and music or whatever it was there.
I want to speak about study hall because that's where I was basically in the whole game.
All right, so
the study hall.
Can't use study hall in the final exam though?
No, it's got to be the final exam questions because it's basically identical sort of way. The study hall is if you're in a subject or a question and you've gotten one wrong, you have to get at least one question wrong first. The subsequent question, you can choose to take it from the study hall instead of whatever chosen subject you're currently in.
Yes, so geography is one of the categories?
Correct, which we all...
Geography is not for either of us.
No, so basically as soon as I got one wrong and Laura got one wrong, we chose to take out all subsequent questions while we're in that class.
Just in that room.
Just in that room from study hall. So if you take the very first question you answer wrong, you take study hall. For all the rest of geography that you're in the classroom, you have to take study hall questions.
Yes. So there's 2 pages of study hall because obviously there might be more questions taken out of that section. So it's 2 pages. Look, this can work in your favour, but it can also not.
Yeah, I kept getting geography questions in study hall for the geography one.
Nathan's like, I'll avoid the geography questions and go for study hall, but nope, that didn't help because you just kept rolling the wrong numbers. So you have to answer one wrong first. You can't just go in and pick study hall straight away. No. And if you do think you might be able to answer a specific topic, I would stick to that rather than the study hall. Yeah, because the study hall ones I found that they were fairly difficult. There was fairly difficult ones in all 3 subjects. Yeah, there definitely was. So that's the only other different thing aside. Otherwise, you just answer the questions per whatever room you're in. Yeah. And that's it. When you get to the end, you're the winner if you're the first one there. Oh, that's just got a list of all the different pages and categories there. The cool ass kids. So these have just little plastic stands. Yeah, and this was up to 6 players, so there's quite a few. There's, what do they call him? George Washington, I think I named him. Yeah, I think you did. There's they're pretty, actually weird. They're cool, but weird. They look like they're doing sick burnouts on chairs. I mean, they could have easily just used, those plain, plastic pieces. So I like that they went for something more unique. I like that the board's not necessarily the standard size either. And I like the board, the how it moves movement. And all that. And there was this one too that you didn't have. They're the same on both sides, by the way. The only concern with this one, like all trivia games, I think this one specifically, is there's not a whole lot of questions. We found that with playing just one game, we were getting duplicates of questions, having to re-roll because the questions we've already had. Yes. So if you were playing this with all 6 players, and, you know, maybe you weren't just instantly getting all the questions and you stayed where you were for a little while, you could easily run out, even just in one game.
Yeah, and like I said, all it is the booklet. There's no extra cards, there's no expansion packs that I'm aware of.
Hey, let us know if you're wrong.
And obviously, being a trivia game, it's a product of its time. So as mentioned before, there was mention of like East and West Germany, which doesn't exist anymore, and Yugoslavia was mentioned, I think. So
the good thing about this is the design, I think, at this stage, rather than the actual questions. But you could easily replace this with a new set. You know, you can buy like Trivial Pursuit cards, like new editions. You could totally use that instead if you wanted to.
You could use any trivia. You could use any trivia cards for this and still run off the same sort of rules.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. But
exactly, you might have to alter obviously
the dice rolling or something,
classes or something. But then you're kind of losing the essence of the game if you're doing that as well.
Then you might as well just buy a new version of whatever trivia game's out.
Exactly. If you enjoyed watching this video, give us a thumbs up. Let us know down below if you know more about like how many releases of these, maybe what the latest release of it was. I'd be curious to know that.
I don't reckon they released many, if any, past 90s.
Hit that subscribe button and check back next week. We have reviews and or playthroughs every Tuesday.
Sounds good.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.